Hello, everyone. Namaskar. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. From wherever you're watching, something for you. A special episode to be aired today, which is a 158th episode of our UBI Open Mic. Today, we are celebrating a week-long extravaganza of series of events, which are 15 events in the total, starting from 4th of August till 11th of August. 11th is the day when we completely 3 years of UBI Open Mic, which is one part of UBI community, wherein we come together, giving a platform to whoever wishes to come and share their talent, be it story, be it poetry, be it stand-up comedy, be it singing. It could be anything and everything. Open mics are held in various languages: Hindi, English, Marathi, and now we are going to be also starting our Punjabi open mic coming this week. So, thanks to all of you, all our viewers who have made sure that this journey continues so healthily, so happily, and I hope we live ever after together. Today, we have a session which is based on stories. It's about stories. Just sharing something which I had read some time back. Evolutionary biologists, there are biologists who say that the human brain developed the ability to tell stories or to imagine them and to dream them around the same time as our ability to speak. So, storytelling was an essential piece of development and the journey of language. And something surprising happens when this information comes from a story. This is all I read about somewhere. I think it's a study which was held, and where they say that it's a very different thing which happens when any information comes in the form of a story rather than just simple fact. If you just read simple facts, it will not affect you that much. But if you read a story, or if you hear a story, or if you see a story on screen, it gives you a very different kind of a surprising thing which comes up in your mind. Your brain lights up when we hear a story. There is a neural activity which increases fivefold. It's like a switchboard. It suddenly illuminates in the city of our mind. And there is a study which was conducted a few years back. That was the scientists packed a few bunch of people into a movie theater to see exactly what the impact is of that particular story on our brain. They put helmets and everything with some gadgets to check what exactly it actually, whether there will be any change in their heart rate, breathing, or what. And then suddenly a James Bond movie started. As the movie played, the scientists closely monitored their audience, the physiological reaction which happened in their body. Whenever the James Bond guy, the hero himself, was in a stressful situation, audience felt the pulses were raising. They were sweating. This happens with most of us, right? And it took it. They took that particular study to tell us that there is something else which works there. At the same time, when all this interesting is happening, there is something called oxytocin, which is a synthesized neurochemical, and that is making it work. That is making waves within. Our heart rate rises and everything happens. So you must have experienced this. I'm sure you must have experienced this. Even if you're just reading a story, when you're engrossed in a story, it does affect you. So let your oxytocin levels rise or decrease, and let us make this whole journey together a different experience altogether. They say neurons that fire together wire together. So we have today with us the special guest Santoshi Bakaya from Jaipur, Natasha Sharma from Pune, Afsana Badar from Nagpur, and Divya Venkateshwaran from Mumbai. Divya is our host, Nados of UBI special host today, who is going to lead the whole session. And what I must say about her, she's such a wonderful soul and a wonderful storyteller. She also is conducting various shows. Recent edition is Between the Pages with Divya. So I hand over the stage to all of you. I'll be listening and waiting for my oxytocin levels to be rising and falling with the stories which you unfold. And Divya, handing over the stage to you. Please take it over and lead us through.
Thank you so much, Sapnaji, for that wonderful introduction uh, for me. I am not a storyteller, by the way, more of a poet. But yes, I don't know why she saw me fit for this. But
Yes,
yes,
because you make sure that the storytellers come up with their stories in the right way. She's bringing in so many storytellers together through her talk show and making sure that they come out with their stories and they come out with what goes through them when they are writing that stories. So who better than Divya to host this show? Welcome, Divya.
thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I welcome everyone today to the UBI Open Mic Extravaganza, which we are running through today. Running through this whole week from 4th to 11th. Um, I'll say a little bit about UBI before we go further. For those who are listening to us, who are not with us but have joined in to listen to the stories, rest all of us know. UBI is a writing community, um, reading community as well. I mean, it's more like a family than just a community. Um I have not met all of them, but I feel that I know them from very long. So that is how it is with UBI. And as Sapnaji rightly said, we are into the third anniversary of Open Mic today. And um, thank you for giving, I'm honored that I am, here hosting the story, the world of stories today, the story world. Right. So um, as we start our program and as we move on with one of the storytellers, who is with us among us today, Dr. Santosh Bakaya ji. She, just a little bit about her before we move on to her story and listen to her. I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. And as rightly said by Sapna ji, yes, wired together we will be. So yes, she is a winner of International Rural Award for Literature for her long poem "Oh Hark," which was published in 2014, and she has been critically acclaimed for her poetic biography of Mahatma Gandhi, Ballad of Bapu, which was uh, which was given to her in the year 2015, and she has written many books. 28 if is the number which I have with me here, in various genres, and she is also an editor to many anthologies. Her latest publication is her poetry book known as Sunset in a Cup, uh, which is published this year. And her TEDx talk to the on the Myth of Writers blog is also very popular among the creative writing circles. And her weekly column, Morning Meanderings in Learning and Creativity.com, is also very popularly received. Welcome, Santosh ji. It's been an honor for me to be introducing you and listening from you here today. Uh, we are eager to listen to you today.
Thank you so much, Divya. And I told you earlier that I'm a chatterbox, and you said that you were also a chatterbox. So, so let me begin my story. And a very, very good morning to all of you. It is indeed an honor to be here. And Sapna, happy congratulations for you, for your team, and for your third anniversary. You, all of you, are doing a commendable job. So I think I should begin my story because I my
Please,
genuinity.
please go ahead.
So yeah. So this story is from my book, Flights from My Terrace. Flights from My Terrace, and it is on page 153. He stoops to conquer. The birds sitting on the trees are blanketed in an eerie silence, a silence that can only be explained by the intense cold. Not a chirp leaves their beaks No fluttering sign of welcome, not even a withering look. A huge car stops right in front of our house with two men sitting inside. Who are those early morning guests? Oh, they are not guests, merely men in a hurry. Men in a hurry, men in a great, great hurry. They dash out of the car and head towards the wall surrounding our house. The cold seems to have played havoc with their urinary bladders. See no evil, see no evil, my motto says, so I demurely avert my eyes from the wall. A couple of kids right in front of a house are fighting over a patch of sunlight. Their screams reach up to our terrace, frightening away the silent birds. Strange but true, a group of 10-year-olds squeal delightedly while squishing water over each other with a long hose pipe, while the elders sitting on string cots and sipping their morning tea to the accompaniment of honking horns and raucous cries of raddiwalas shout reprimands in their direction. इतनी सर्दी है क्या कर रहे हो? What are you doing in the severe cold? Their reprimands are drowned in the surrounding morning cacophony. A boy snoozing on a chair next to his tea slurping parents suddenly leaps up from his chair, rubs his eyes, and before the mother can put a restraining hand on his shoulder, he races out of the massive iron gate. He stops outside the gate only for a few seconds and then sprints breathlessly towards the road, barely missing being crushed by a monster truck. Ignoring the hissed curses of the truck driver, he races after the truck, he races after the truck, he races after the truck. What demons are chasing this 10-year-old? What nightmares are haunting him at the crack of a new morn? Or is the young boy himself chasing some demon? The truck trundles out of sight, but I can still see the boy from the terrace. He races forth with a new vigor now that the road is clear. But alas, the slight boy collides with a heavily muffled and blanketed person who lets loose a barrage of expletives at this collision. He staggers and stumbles on the road. I lean my chair and stand near the wall of the terrace to get a better view of the scene unfolding before my eyes. What was up? Now I see the boy racing towards a deserted house. He kicks open the rusted and broken iron gate, sprints up the staircase leading up to the terrace, and crash lands on the terrace. But no, the boy has fallen only to rise again. With a nimble, sure-footedness, he forges ahead. What is he up to? What is he up to? I lean forward to get a better view of his antics. Neither looking to the right nor to the left, he looks merely in front of him and then bends down. What is he down to? My curiosity has got the better of me. I stand on my toes now to get a hang of things on the terrace of the deserted house. Hang on, friends. The boy has stooped to conquer. With a yell of triumph, yay, he picks up a fallen angel. A kite, a flamboyantly colored kite. Then, with the colorful booty clutched tightly in his hand, the warrior heads back, victorious. I also head back towards the chair, a smile on my lips. The birds suddenly seem to have recovered their loquacity, and the blue sky has transformed into a collage of colorful kites, merrily flying around like free and unencumbered thoughts. The morning scene has been shattered by raucous cries of Wokata, Wokata. With the sounds of the Sunday symphony ringing in my ears, I pick up the laptop and head inside the house, my mind an eclectic mix of freely soaring kite-like thoughts. Thank you. Thank you so much for listening to me. Thank you.
Wow, such a wonderful, vivid picture. I could actually imagine it all through in the mind.
This time, while all this was happening before me, I was looking at the boy. He was such an excited state, running after something. I couldn't decide. I couldn't see what it was because it was on the terrace. Then I saw him, and there was a serendipitous glee on his face, the way he picked up the kite and he raised his triumphant fist in the air. Yeah, he said. So that was a
Right.
wonderful.
Actually, we miss those, little moments, which happen around us, and that is what a storyteller does. Pick those moments up, pick those emotions up, pick those expressions up, and put it here. Wonderful, wonderful story. I would like to hear from everyone here if they can, just say what did they like about the story before I move to a question for Santoshji.
I love the way you painted, I mean, I was wondering when you were leading up to to the entire thing, and when he picks up the kite, it was such a fantastic moment because that's what you expect, from children, but it came out beautifully.
I myself love kites and I fly kites. So this was a very exciting moment for me too. So it was,
Absolutely.
thank you.
Even I thought the ending was very surprising and very nice. Yeah. It was nice.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes, I went back to my old days as a what do you say, tomboy who would fly kites, the only girl who flies kite. So yes. So I have a question for you, Santoshji. I know you picked it up from an instance which happened around you. So I know for sure that the boy was real. So what do you owe the real people upon whom you base your characters?
Well, I feel there are characters all around us. Right now, I'm talking to you, and who knows, you might become a character in my next novel. I'm about to give it finishing touches. And maybe, who knows, Sapna, I might portray Sapna as a villain, a vamp, who knows. So there are characters all around us. And right now, my husband is sitting next to me, and he has been one of the characters in my morning meanderings. I write quite a lot about him. And those of you who read my morning meanderings, my weekly column, my Thursday column, and learning and creativity must have come across these rag pickers, these construction site workers, the tea vendor, the workers at the construction site, and they are fighting. Sometimes they are laughing. So all of them, they are characters. I pick up these characters from the roadside, from the streets, from malls and all, and they are registered in my mind. And later on, they become part of my story or part of my novella, part of my story or poem, because I write narrative poetry where there are characters too. So let me tell you, if I'm not talking too much, let me tell you my novel, A Sky Full of Balloons. People think that it is autobiographical. It is not. But some of the characters have autobiographical tinges. My daddy and my papa, who was a professor of English, and the Mr. Rana here, he is almost the personification of my dad. And he had a tremendous sense of humor. So these are the characters, the people I see every day. Thank you.
Truly, it is rightly said, don't take panga with a storyteller. They will end, they will keep you in their stories. So
I don't know what panga I took to become a villain. Let me know later.
Or vamp. Let's not forget the vamp.
yes.
You were saying something, Santoshji.
Yes, I said, Sapna, beware.
Yeah, I'm very scared now.
Really? That's to my
Yeah.
novel. So I might, there'll be a twist in the tale, and Sapna will emerge as the killer.
Oh my God. So I can tell that is story inspired by me. I have to kill someone for that. Oh God.
Great.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it was so lovely to listen to you. I think a story told in a poetic way is what I'll put it as. Right. So we move on to our next storyteller. We have with us today Dr. Afsana Badar. Welcome, Afsana. She is a homeopath by profession, and she is enthralled by the nature around her. So even though she chose medicine as a career, writing is something which she cherishes, which brings her joy. And she started, writing blogs. She has been regularly writing blogs for MBYC and is also a member of many book reading clubs, book clubs. Uh, in March 2023, her talent was recognized when her short story, um, when her short story titled Quenched was published in Unwind Volume 4 of Quill Writers. Her poem, An Ode to the Woman, won her the Women's Day Poetry Contest by the Creative Circle as well. She is also an author of the novel in verse, Nosto's Homecoming, The Storm, written in limerick form, which was published and is garnering rave reviews from the readers. And beyond her professional writing pursuits, Afsana cherishes spending leisure time with nature, around the nature, and enjoying activities like singing, listening to music, and yes, as rightly said, among the nature with animals and birds. Welcome, Afsana, and we are ready to hear your story and very eager to know who is the villain in your story.
Thank you so much, Divya, for this lovely introduction. And thank you once more to you for connecting me to this wonderful place where we share with such wonderful people our thoughts. So today I'll be sharing with you 5 micro tales, and I have titled them Convoys of Faith, means where faith and other things together build a beautiful world. So the Convoys of Faith, 5 micro tales of how faith accompanies the most subtle human emotions and how it is an integral part of the essence of life. So the first tale, titled Faith and Patience. It's the sound of the hour bells of 12 noon at the busy street of Chandni Chowk. Sandhya is too tired after looking from one necklace to another. Tired and disappointed, she says, Bhaiya, kuch aur dikhaiye na please. Only a week is left for her D-Day and she can't find her ideal neck piece. A lady suddenly comes and says, Bhaiya, please mera exchange kar lijiye. And Sandhya is like, no ways, I'm still looking, please wait. And then she's suddenly so thirsty that she takes out her bottle for a sip of water. By the time the lady has already opened her bag and taken out the envelope and comes out the most exquisite piece of silver, Sandhya can't take her eyes off. Now, the second story, Faith and Love. To Purva, it was a delight to find a cozy 2-bedroom flat in Mumbai. On her training of a month, she was very well settled. She is sipping some hot, freshly brewed coffee in the gallery of the third floor. Straight ahead is a peepal tree housing multiple little nests. A little Mena is busy doing her chores in her nest. Suddenly, to Purva's utter dismay, it pushes her little nestling out of the nest, and down it goes. Sandhya's horror wants her to shut her eyes, but she lets them remain open. Just before the poor thing touches the ground, another Mena catches it to safety. Tears fill Sandhya's eyes as she remembers her father, whom she'd lost a year. Now the third one, Faith and Guidance. Jonathan is sitting in the veranda with his brush. He is awaiting an idea. He has been painting since he was 5. He has done some absolutely stunning art pieces and has many accolades to his name. But today, he is clueless. He looks at the sky for divine intervention. In that instant, the rays of the midday sun blind him. And bingo, here's his inspiration shining bright in front of him. Now, the fourth one, faith and respect. Maya is back in her hometown after decades. She is excited to be with old friends and acquaintances. After a week, she visits her alma mater, the pride of her school days. Her teachers have all retired. Some have even left for their heavenly abode. She is very eager to know about her favorite Anaita ma'am. She gets to know her address, and it turns out to be an old age home. She is furious. Absolutely, they must be mean offspring. Then she's depressed. Maybe she doesn't have anyone. Maybe she's too ill. Reaching the place, she inquires about Miss Anaita. She is shown the direction. Now she is experiencing a lot of anxiety. There, in the garden, she can see someone watering the plants. She can feel her heart skip a beat. Before long, she sees the same smart bun tied on the back of her hair. And then the lady turns, exactly how she had seen her 30 years back. Miss Anaita now takes care of the old age home. She is still the charming lady she was years back and as fit as a fiddle. Now, the fifth one, faith and perseverance. Mansoor cooks at the temple. He has been here for 5 years now. He loves his work. Feeding people with a loving heart is his ideal work satisfaction mantra. He has seen people come in and go away, but he never wants to leave. He donates all his salary to the upbringing of the 5 kids of the temple pujari. When he was 12, a riot broke out in the town. All members of his family were lost. A dog saved him and brought him to this temple. The dog belonged to the temple pujari. Since then, Mansoor stays in this temple. Yeah. These were the 5 stories. Thank you so much.
Lovely, lovely 5 stories, all on faith. And I especially like the last, both like the second last and the last one. I did hit a chord with the second last one, but I will not say about it now. Maybe after Natasha comes in, I might, relate it to a point. Maybe Natasha already understood what I'm trying to say here, but um, yes, it reminded me of something, and I will share that once Natasha has read her story. But overall, I think amazing 5 stories on faith, love, patience. I think it was wonderful for you to craft those 5 stories. Santosh ji, Natasha, your comments.
I really loved all the stories, especially the last, second last, and last. They really touched my heart, very sensitively written, and the writer seems to be a very compassionate and sensitive soul. So hats off to you. Both stories, all the stories, in fact, they were wonderful. Thank you so much. It was an honor listening to them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
I agree. The last story especially was very moving, primarily because it deals a lot with what I have written. So there, Divya's got So I think faith and humanity are, it surprises us in so many ways. So, lovely work.
Sapna ji,
Crafted, beautifully crafted. And as Santoshji said, you ought to be a very compassionate person to write such stories. So I come really hats off to you to feel those moments and to pen them out. It takes a very large heart. Congratulations on that.
truly. Afsana, I would like to ask you one question because you have given us these 5 stories now. And how difficult it is you to, write characters of the opposite sex, because we as women might write about women very easily, but how difficult it is to write about males or boys or from the opposite sex.
When I write, I mostly write about the opposite sex only, because we understand what we feel as a female. I'm a girl, I'm a lady, so I understand what a female gender can feel, but it's very difficult to think how a man feels. And that is something which has always intrigued me. In any circumstance, we are very eager to share our views, our opinions. This happened with me, XYZ, whatever. But we never consider how the other person is feeling. And definitely we stay in a society, we stay in a family, we always have the male gender who is very the people in my life have been very supportive, my father, my spouse, my brothers, everybody. So my son is also there. He's 8, but he's a really gentle soul, and I thank God for that I have such nice people in my life. So they need to be appreciated too. Generally women feel more uh, maybe comfortable writing about the female gender, but somebody has to write about the men.
Very well said. Very well
True.
said.
we
Absolutely.
have, we have so many days: Women's Day, XYZ, Daughters Day. They also need to
We
be.
keep forgetting the kind of support system they are. And today, when we are able to talk about it, it's only because of this last generation of men, probably. And we are openly talking about Women's Day, and we are openly talking about empowering women, thanks to this last generation who has given us that liberty. Wonderfully said, Afsana. Wonderfully said.
I have 2 sons and I can totally relate. I learn a lot from them. One is very calm, the other one is very naughty. And I think I still need to, learn that calmness from my elder one. So I don't know from where he brings it in. Well, but yes, we have been always supportive. As you rightly said, I think this generation, the coming generation, is also very, very supportive in terms of, empowering women. So moving on with our next guest, Natasha. Hi, Natasha. A bit about you. We know each other very well through writing communities, but it's always a great moment to talk about her. So yes, so Natasha is not just an author. She's a storyteller in every sense. She runs her own IT firm, and by the night, she crafts stories, op-ed pieces that have found homes in renowned portals like moneycontrol.com, Yudh Ki Awaaz, and Times of India. She also runs a book club named Book It Up, where she co-owns it or co-runs it, where they interview authors, provide book reviews, because she's as much as a reader as much she is a writer. So in 2022, the York Center of Asian Research awarded her story, Wind Beneath Your Wings, a certificate of excellence. And she, as I said, is an avid reader. She's always found reading. She's passionate about creating awareness about gender inequality, and other social issues as well. She resides in Pune with her family, and she continues to weave tales resonating with humor and reality. Beneath Divided Skies is her debut fictional novel on the Rescue and Restoration Act 1949, exploring the rehabilitation of women after partition, which came in this year. Yes,
March.
congratulations for that, Natasha. Very eager to listen to your story.
Thank
The
you.
stage is all yours.
Thank you. Firstly, I want to say thank you for inviting me here. Divya and we know each other for quite some time now, and it was very gracious of her to include me in this beautiful family of such warm people. So thank you for that. The story that I'm going to read is it's a chapter from my book. My book is Beneath Divided Skies. It's is it visible? Yeah. It's I'm a child of migrants, and these stories are stories that my parents told me. And while I don't really talk about the partition per se, these are stories that story rather that comes from the empowerment of women, how women went undercover to find and rescue other women. And it's a story I feel people should read, if not from my book, at least we should research, because this is a great way that women have shown empowerment. Anyways, getting to my story, it's about two rescued girls, Santosh and Amrita, who are staying in the government run ashrams. And this is the conversation they're having with each other about how life treated them. So, since I'm blind without my chashma, here goes. Okay. Santosh had settled in comfortably into a routine at Pana Ashram and was learning embroidery from Amrita, a good friend and another resident. To her surprise and joy, Santosh excelled at thread work. One chilly afternoon, the duo lay sprawled on a cot on the veranda under the sacked sun. Leaning against the coarse wall, their stiff, handmade sweaters, socks, and blanket struggled to keep them warm. Amrita was teaching Santosh famous Fulkari embroidery, and Santosh could barely sit straight with excitement. When she had learned the technique, Santosh concentrated on threading the vibrant colors on the khaddar, while Amrita watched with an eagle eye. Fulkari embroidery wasn't an easy skill, and it took a lot of effort. But after the fifth continuous mistake, Santosh's nostrils flared, and she flung the wooden whip on the manji. She arched her back, massaging it. My back hurts, Amun. Can we continue later? Said Santosh. Of course, Santosh. Amrita neatly wrapped the threads and she hung it on the manji's wooden leg. May I ask you a question, Santosh? You can choose not to answer, Amrita asked as she burrowed in the white blanket. Ask me anything, Santosh said. Did your abductors hit you often? Every day, more than once. Yours? Santosh replied. Amrita nodded. I was in a similar situation before we came to this ashram. How long have you been here? Asked Santosh. 6 months. I was brought here from Lahore. Did they find your family? This is why you stay here? Asked Santosh. A right smile played across Amrita's face. Oh, they did trace my family. Then why are you here? Asked Santosh. To teach you how to embroider, Santosh. The sun broke through, showering them with diffused light, causing the two friends to squint. Just as soon as it had peeked out, the bright star withdrew behind the cover of clouds. Santosh wrinkled her nose and held her pinky out. Katti, don't give me a proper answer. As if I care, she pouted. Amrita ruffled Santosh's hair and picked up a pillow, holding it against her chest. Don't get angry, Santosh. It makes me sad. Do you want to hear my story? At Santosh's nod, Amrita continued. Mine is a story you've heard many times. I lived a regular life, and one day, everything changed. A mob of men kidnapped the girls in our mohalla, including me. And that was the end of normal. Every day, a different man stripped me of my identity. And I felt with every act, I lost a piece of myself until all that was remained of me was just bones held together by muscles. Bored with me, they sold me for 17 paise and I was married off to Salim Suleiman. On the way to Lahore, my wounds bled the entire way. drops of my blood mixed with the dust on the streets. But no one took any notice. Many were left for the dead on the road. So what did a few more drops of blood matter? The sun burned with shame and buried itself while the shadows it cast played across Amrita's face, her voice a monotone. Salim was 78, and I? How old was I? 15. He barely spoke to me, but was an animal otherwise. But I felt nothing, Santosh. I felt nothing anymore. The body may have belonged to Amrita, but my mind had already escaped its clutches. When they rescued me, it just meant a change of ownership for me. It was when they said that my BG was searching for me that the forgotten past washed over me. What happened then? Asked Santosh. I shrugged. I thought this was the life that I would ever know. But when I saw BG again, there was relief. She took me home, she bathed me, she changed my clothes, she fed me, and she didn't let me out of her sight. I was content to wrap myself in her arms and sleep. Every night, like a child, I'd wait for her to embrace me, and only then could I sleep. After ages, I felt there was hope for a better life. But in a few weeks, my pregnancy started to show, and everything just cooled down again. Then, question Santosh. Father was so angry. A child born of a Muslim, not possible under Papaji's roof. PG tried everything possible, from papayas to pushing me down the stairs. But I didn't lose the baby. One night, she woke me. She packed my belongings in a bag and she threw me out. She said a few words, but they just buzzed around me, and I couldn't understand a word. Santosh clenched her fists, newly grown nails digging into her palms. No, how could they do that to you? Amrita drew her knees up. Her eyes reflected a strange mixture of sorrow and indifference. PG promised to protect me, abandoned me because I was defiled, because I was impure. Who would marry me? Who would marry my younger sisters? She said. PG said, they think I died in the riots. Her eyes misted over, even though the tears refused to fall. Well, Santosh whispered no. Amrita held the cushion away from her, surprised at its vicinity. It's in the past, Santosh. I've made peace with it. What happened then, Amrita replied. Once again, I was alone, my unborn baby and I was angry at my parents, the mob, the entire world. I paid a price for an act that wasn't even my fault. No one asked me if I wanted to go to Lahore. No one asked me if I wanted to marry Salim or if I wanted to have his child. But it wasn't my baby's fault either, was it? But unlike BG, I'll protect her. But then, my womb also betrayed me. BG's wish came true. As I doubled over in pain, a sticky trickle ran down my leg. The same red blood drops mixed in the same brown, and once again, nobody cared. I had failed to protect my child, not given the chance to live. My mother's words echoed in my mind. She had said, I was lucky. I was unlucky because I stained everything I touched, my life, my body, and my baby. Oh, Amrita, how could they do this to you? Why didn't you go back to your family? Family? They ordered me never to show my face in a village. A violated woman has no place in society, something. Then I contacted Prernaji and they sent me here. I was always good with my fingers, good at embroidery. So here we are. There's more, but I'm stopping here.
Oh, heart-wrenching is what I will say. I'm past this chapter and I'm still to finish the book. So I would not say much. I would allow others to comment.
You know, the story has been so well rendered. It's so heart-touching, and it sent goosebumps up my spine and left me with tingling eyes and a lump in the throat. I want to read the entire story now. I want to read the entire book. And I'm too overwhelmed at the moment to speak. But I believe that it has been a wonderful experience going through the rendition and the narration, and I could, sort of, it was so palpable, it was so real. I could touch the throbbing pain. I could feel it. Hats off to you, Natasha. It's wonderfully written. And I'm going to read the entire book.
Yes, totally agree, Santosh ji. As I read through, I connect to each woman she has described in the book. I don't know, as if I know them. I don't know them, but they are not real for real. Maybe real at some point of time, but truly, I mean, they have been brave enough to, you know, experience what they have experienced.
Uh, there's just one thing that I often say about women is, most of us in our lives have been victims of, some kind of gender bias. Some have been lucky to not have experienced it, but as a general rule, women have always experienced gender bias in their lives. And similarly, it happened in partition also. But what makes women so amazing is the intense ability to just not be a victim, but to rise above the victimhood, so to speak, and to survive, to make other women, or to save other women from a similar story. And that kind of bravery, I think, is something that, of course, we see it in men also. But to be a victim and to rise beyond your pains, to be able to help someone up, is something that is so intrinsic to women. And this is something I really admire about
Natasha, I think you went mute.
I think I went mute. Okay. Anyways, the point I was trying to make is, women don't, I don't know, did I go mute the entire time?
No, just the last few seconds.
So I just want to say this is what I admire the most for us, because this is something that I think a lot of women, because we empathize and we can experience what the other person is going through. And that's where we want to stop it from harming other people.
Absolutely. What I picked up from the story, I understand it was surely very, heart was palpitating. You were actually going through it with the pain which she went through. And the best part for me, which I pick up from the story, is still after everything, one, she was ready to take care of the child. She was so strong enough to still face the world and feel the consequences. She knew what would be coming when she brings the child in the world. Feeling that sadness that she couldn't take care of her. Then coming into a reality situation at that point of time where you're talking about the story, another females around her holding hands and taking care of each other. That makes us women actually stand out in the world.
Absolutely.
So whatever we go through, gender bias, I believe in both the sides. Everybody has a plus minus, right? So yeah, whoever it be, a human being, for that matter, any situation when you go through, the surrounding has to be strong enough to uplift, be it female or male. And I know the stories about partition, I have heard a lot from my grandparents and family members and all. And I think Dida, you will also relate to probably the Kashmir status, which whatever, like, the families went through.
Right.
And all. There have been instances, umpteen instances, not only during partition, even later. So I guess it's time now that we come up and we stay strong and we bring in the change and be the change too. So wishing that to the fraternity, writing world, the writers as well. We can bring in the change. We can surely bring in the change.
We can. They say the pen is mightier than the sword, and it really
Absolutely.
is.
Absolutely.
Yes. I was about to say that, and you just yes.
Stole it right from you.
Great. So, Natasha, you have been a fiction writer, and I have read many of your stories. So, have you read anything that made you think differently about fiction? Maybe you got inspired, or you just thought, uh, what fiction? Is this even fiction? Anything like that?
But yes, there is an author called Luz Penny, and she primarily writes, I'm at heart a mystery lover. I love to kill people. Sadly, only literary. Santoshji, not in real life. So mystery, she does an author, Luz Penny, and she writes these mysteries about a place in Canada, a fictional place in Canada, and she talks about the lead detective who goes about solving the case. But those stories are just so much more than a mystery happening. It is about human relationships. It's about humans, how they evolve and how they react to circumstances, how our internal biases come out at at important times or at crux situations. And that was the time when I felt, when I read her work, is that to be able to make people feel and to be able to make people relate to a character to such an extent that they feel that they are alive is something that can completely change the way you feel. And for me, Luz Penny has always sort of been that one person who changed my wish to not only write about mysteries or romance, my second favorite genre, but also about relationships and how basically how we as humans evolve. I don't know if I've answered your question, but that's my answer.
No, that's very well answered. You are a reader, so that's why particularly I felt that you'll be able to answer that question more appropriately. Right.
I would like to say something about Natasha's writing of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure, go ahead.
The way you have written, it's really very subtly you have given the picture, which is in fact a very bold picture. And I as a person, or maybe other females also, they don't like reading these things in bold form, which is some abusive to women. But we need to know these stories. And the way you have written it, I really like the way you have written the subtle form, yet conveying the message and yet conveying what happened. So I really liked it a lot. I had also attended your Insta live sometime back. That time also somebody had, I don't remember with whom it was, but the same novel was being.
Manali, yeah, with Manali Desai, I think.
Manali.
Thank you. Thank you.
Because I really can't read something which is very bold and especially abusive to women and portrayed in a bold way. It's difficult to.
It is always very traumatic to write. Even when I was doing research, there was nights when I couldn't sleep because partition is. I mean, didn't matter whether the woman was Hindu, Sikh, Muslim, Isai, whatever. I mean, violence is violence. Right? It is gender agnostic. Sorry, it's religion agnostic. It'll affect you anyways, and it's always very difficult to read about trauma, especially because you're a woman and you can relate to it happening. So yeah, but I feel we should read not mine because others work also, because it sort of puts it in perspective how women have been able to surpass this and still soar in the sky. Carry the scars and still be light enough to go out is what is the message that I wanted to always send.
Wonderfully penned, but it's really amazing. Wonderfully written.
Thank you.
I think Divya, we have heard such wonderful stories from Santosh ji, Afsana ji, Natasha ji. And I'm sure each one of us is waiting to see what you have in store for us. Are we going to hear a story from you two today? Our poetess, Divya Venkateswaran.
Yes, I do have one, but it's nothing like what all others have presented here. I am truly not a storyteller. So, but yes, I do contribute towards anthologies because I want to what do I say, evolve as a writer, not limiting myself to be only a poet, but to come up with stories. So here I have one which I contributed to an anthology. The anthology name was Dating After Death. So I'm going to it was it was a very interesting theme, so I thought, why not write for it? So here it comes. Ria was not a dating person, and online dating seemed a distant option, though many of her friends recommended it, but she was hesitant enough to take it forward. Ria would always wonder what kind of people she would come across in a dating app. Would they be for real? She would rather be an old school and try the conventional form of dating. But the question remained, would the person be for real? As women, we all have a fairy tale version of how we would meet the love of our life. We already have a script written across our minds as to how the fairy tale would be. Ria wanted to get married and have a family of her own, but was also ashamed of that desire. It was odd to have those thoughts, but owing to her skin color and her age, well, Ria was turning 40 next month. She was shamed to believe that there were not many men left for her on this earth. The old-fashioned way was certainly not going to help her. Ria decided to go for it and signed up on an online dating website. She managed a decent profile. Ria responded to men who she thought expressed interest in her. She never reached out to men in real life and didn't do it on the digital platform as well. If she was interested, she sent a response and answered their questions and asked her role. In the first group of men, someone named Rohan reached out to Ria. He added Ria as his favorite and left a message. His handsome picture had immediately caught her attention. Unlike others, he had left her a question. He asked if Ria was new to this dating website. Out of all men who were flirtatious and always left compliments, he stood out. They continued the conversation on the dating site. Ria liked chatting with him and was excited to talk to him. She shared her phone number too. Ria couldn't wait to tell her roommate. I met a guy online and we chat almost daily, Deepa, Ria told her when she got home. Then she showed her a photo of him. Oh, that's Rohan, Deepa said. Wow, you know him? Yes, I have known him for years. He's a good guy and helped Dad with one of his bank accounts. Ria was relieved that she was not dating a complete stranger. They finally connected over the phone. When Ria heard him for the first time, she could connect to his deep and rich voice. They spoke about their families, their career experiences, their love for food, and the more they talked, they came to know more about each other. Ria and Rohan decided to meet in person, and she asked him to pick a good restaurant for lunch. Ria got dressed up like a doll and called for a cab to reach the restaurant. Rohan had offered to pick her up. Ria politely refused. As soon as Ria got into the cab, she texted Rohan. She was halfway through when the car shut down. The driver got out to check and returned to inform Ria that the car has broken down and it would not be possible for him to go further. Ria paid him whatever was due and got out to call Rohan. He picked up the call at the first ring. Ria narrated what had happened and Rohan offered to pick her up from the location. They were talking about how they felt about the meeting when suddenly Ria heard a thud. Rohan was screaming and calling out her name, and she couldn't perceive what happened at the other end. Priya called out from the phone, Rohan, Rohan, are you okay? There was no answer. She called out again, but there was no response. Her heartbeat went up and she panicked. Priya didn't know what to do. Her hands and legs were shivering, and she was barely able to walk. She stood up with great difficulty and was about to cross the road when her ears caught a screech and her eyes witnessed a car going out of control. The car was coming at her, and she stood still with fear in her eyes. Ria was gleaming with happiness as she reached the restaurant. She quickly rushed to the restroom to check if she needed any touch-up. Ria saw Rohan sitting on the table beside the pool, waiting for her. She cherished watching him from the distance. Ria walked up to him. His smile made her fall for him. She hugged Rohan and whispered into his ears, I was eagerly waiting for this moment. Thanks for making it so special. Rohan replied, anything for you, my sweetheart. Rohan had arranged for an extravagant spread, keeping in mind their love for food, and they relished the food as much as they looked each other into the eyes. No words spoken, their eyes revealed what they felt for each other. His hand caressed hers, his lips kissed hers. Ria sensed the eternal love they possessed for each other, and the ambience to connote the love was ideal. Ria and Rohan could not have had an exceptional abode, the paradise. Thank you so much.
What must I say? All of us are dumbfounded. If you don't write, you better start writing, darling. You say that you are not a storyteller, and here you come up with such an amazing story. Santosh ji, what would you say for it?
Divya, can you hear
Yes.
me?
Yes, we can
Yes.
hear you.
And never underestimate yourself. You are a wonderful storyteller, a wonderful story writer. And the very way you began the story, Divya is not a waiting person. That is excellent. And it makes you want to read ahead. So that is a quality of a very good writer. And you are an excellent writer. The way you, it was an indeed intriguing story, the way you hooked us on. We were waiting for the end, and it was wonderful. And so never underestimate yourself and start writing stories. Better, you better do that, or else, or else I'll kill you in my next novel, next to next novel.
Everyone get ready to be killed here.
No, if Sapna ji is killing me, then I'm okay.
My God, look at that. Somebody's ready to die for me. Oh no.
Mark of the time she gets ready to kill me. Well, raising my study for cover. The day is not far away.
No way. This is amazing. Divya, this was really an amazing story. And you must start writing more often, more stories. We would love to hear from you more stories.
Sure, I will try my best. I am evolving, so I think I'll do it. I have almost completed my novel, so I think I am on it, and with each book, I think I'll evolve. So it's a learning all through. So yes,
all of us are learning all the time.
Absolutely.
Learning. I keep time. In fact, there are 10, 12 compartments in my head, and they are all the time writing something or the other. But I'm learning. I'm still evolving.
So before I take up I have one question which comes to my mind for Divya. Natasha, you would like to say something, or Afsana would like to share something?
I'd like to say, Divya, romance is my most favorite genre after killing people. Thank you for choosing that. Make war and whatever. But oh, amazing! It was so. You have magic in your words. There's the sama kaise banaya. The characters, how they were interacting. Lovely.
Thank
Trust
you.
me,
Thank
I love romance, and I was listening with my ears peeled. Abhi aage kya hoga? Lovely.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I love the story too. I love romance too, and like clean romance. So it was a really the teen type of romance. I am fond of that, not the adult one. So it was a very nice story, and contemporary. It was so
Well,
relatable,
I was about to,
and it was age specific also to us, at least to me.
I was about to pick up an erotica, which I wrote
Ah,
long back, but then I refrained myself. I said, no, ज़्यादा हो
magic
जाएगा.
is
Maybe
going
we
on.
can have a special session for only erotic stories,
Yeah.
where you can wear it all.
True.
There was
Thank
just a
you so much,
question
everyone.
comes
Thank
to
you so
my
much.
mind when I mean you were asking questions. I'm sorry, just something which comes to my mind. As you said that you're learning. Anything specific you would like to share with the viewers or the storytellers who are listening to us? All of you, in fact, if you have anything which you would like to suggest for the upcoming storytellers, what they should do, and how can they hone their skills? One I am always heard from is start writing, but not everything which you write will be perfect. So how to hone the skills? One is that, and what are the kind of skills which you think a storyteller should have to bring in the best in their stories?
Okay, let
Um,
me.
Yes, Santoshji.
Yeah, so there are stories all around us. We just need to keep our senses alert. I keep telling my students, if you have heard my TED talk, in that I say that this writer's block is a myth. If you are passionate about writing, you just put pen to paper or whatever means of writing you use, and a story will flow. There are stories inside you, and if your eyes, your ears are open, you can see stories all around you. And for that, you need whatever you want to write. You need to hone your vocabulary. I remember when I was in the 10th standard, I thought I had written a very good story, and my papa flung it away, saying, "Kya style bhi nahi hai iska, to kuch bahut ganda likha hai." And of course, let me confess, I went to the room and I cried and cried and cried. And after that, I read every book in the house in the 10th standard, because Papa was a professor in the English department in Jaipur here, and we had a huge collection of books. So I read every book, and with the result, I'm not blowing my own trumpet, but I know that my vocabulary is pretty good. And that is because of the fact that I read a lot. I read every book in the house. I read every book of Dickens. I read every book of Hardy. And these days, my husband is also a great avid reader. And I don't really like all these books, but I have read them. I read every book. I read every book that comes now. So reading is very, very important. Reading is very important. And let me tell you also this, that I was taking this class, and this student came up to me and said, "Madam, I cannot do this." I had given them a homework. He said, "Madam, I cannot do this. I have a writer's block." I said, "Right now, I'm going to block you on Facebook." That is block. There is no such thing as a writer's block. No one has a writer's block. No one can have a writer's block if he's passionate about writing. You don't worry about being right. Just write. WRITE. So this is very, very important. Don't need to be perfect. You are a writer at heart, because I believe that everyone can write. Everyone can write. So don't worry about being right, RIGHT. Just write, WRITE.
So
Thank you.
perfectly said. So perfectly said, Santoshji. One has to just start writing to come to that, to hone the skill. First of all, you just started. The beginning has to be there. And as you said, reading is so important. Absolutely.
And of course, we're evolving all the time. In this very meet, I evolved. I evolved. I learned so many things. I learned so many things from Divya, from Sapna. Although I threatened her with killing her in my novel, I learned so from Natasha, from all of you. So sorry for having threatened you. I am very
Kill, kill it. So I know very well
I'm
that
looking forward.
आपसे
I'm
मारा भी
looking
होगा तो
forward to
प्यार से
kill.
मारा है इसलिए प्यार आपका सराखों पर.
I
I'm
don't
looking
mind being
forward to
murdered.
be killed, and I'm looking forward to be
Yeah,
killed by
feel free
Sapna.
to kill me.
Wow, see, there are so many people dying for me. What else? This is the beauty of the world, you know. Today, if you would have not asked me to kill anybody, I would have not known that there are people ready to die in my hands. Oh my God, this is amazing. Wow. I am in
Pehchana.
77 now.
Okay. As know thyself. So you ought to know thyself. Every person is good as well as bad. All of us are schizophrenic. So I'm good as well as bad. I can kill people. So beware, Sapna.
Yes, I will. Natasha, what would you say?
I have actually forgotten the question.
No, the question is basically, as a storyteller, what do you suggest? How does one hone their skills, and what does one do to grow in the skill?
For me, it's very important that one does research, because if you research in the sense that it doesn't have to be, a thesis kind of research, but it has to be research where you know what you're talking about. There are stories that I've read which have spoken about air conditioners being in the 1940s, and it's, as a reader, it irritates me because I think यार इतना तो आप देख ही सकते थे, right? इतनी तो आप research कर सकते थे. So you don't have to be factually correct all the time, but make sure that you get your surroundings right. Second thing is that I feel many people have a fear of word count. They say कि 500 से ऊपर हम जा नहीं पाते हैं, या 2500 हमारी एक limit है. And this is the advice that I usually give people, is that if you're thinking of writing a novel, look at each chapter as an independent story connected by the same character. So this makes it easier because you're breaking it down in chunks. So that way, third point is never stop eavesdropping. Oh my God, the kind of dope that I have got
Okay,
from
same here.
eavesdropping is
My
station
daughter-
ho, train
daughter
ho.
Stop eavesdropping. Stop eavesdropping. When you go to the restaurant, you don't eat. You eavesdrop. That's bad.
Absolutely. I'm horrendous at it. I say it with most pride. सबसे ज्यादा मैंने सुना है लोगों की कहानी किससे कहानी है. चाहे ट्रेन में हो, बस में हो, you're waiting at an airport, you're waiting at a bus station. Here, people around you, you'll get the best jokes, the best dialogues, the best stories, because it's all, as Santosh ji correctly said, it's all around us. So
Absolutely.
always be a keen observer. कोई किस तरीके से बात करता है, इंदौर में लोग कैसे एक्सेंट में बात करते हैं, बॉम्बे में कैसे. Because then that, once you see that, you can hear that. When you can hear that, you can write that. Right? It all comes from observation to a large extent. And
उसको आप दिमाग में रखो. उसको use कर सकते हो. There was a boy wearing a t-shirt that said this.
Yeah.
I've written a story on, Baba Bengali ads. I don't know how many of you are from Bombay. So there is, train में एक Baba Bengali ad आया करते थे कि वशीकरण की गुस्सा आया, और those, those type of things. And we once even called them up when I was in college. But anyways, thankfully कुछ हुआ नहीं. So, there's always an opportunity waiting for you. You just have to see it. So observation. Don't fear word count. Word count it's just in your mind. If you keep writing smaller and smaller, you build on it. Research, and I think the most important part is back up your work on Google Cloud or wherever else you want to back up, because I have once lost a major chunk of the story I was writing, and I was very sad about it. So please make sure you back it up, whether you email it to yourself, you WhatsApp it to yourself, whatever, do something, but make sure you take backups. And which is really not a way to write your stories, but it's more of a safety method. So yeah, that's all I have to say.
Wonderful. Really amazing insights. Afsana, anything you would like to add to this?
I would just like to say that each and every person has a different voice, and every voice should be heard, should be said in the first place. if we think that no, our story is not worth listening to, or like that, we should not be biased. There would be someone who would love your story. Just you have to find that reader who will resonate with your story.
I think when
And
we
who will
start
definitely
writing, the
listen.
readers will reach us for sure, and the story will find the reader for sure.
Absolutely.
There's a saying that says that there is a U-shaped hole in someone's heart, and they're waiting for you. And then comes from your words.
Absolutely. And if you are ready with your stories, UBI is ready with the platform. Storytellers is a regular feature over here, and we bring in writers who can write stories in Hindi or English. कहानियों की दुनिया भी होती है और अंग्रेजी में story world है. So you can come in and share with the world. So whatever you're writing, keep sharing with us. Divya, anything, any winding up words?
I would just like to say that I started writing, stories. I started with stories. I moved on to be a poet, but maybe I was lazy. Yes, I think I started off with, quotes. I started off with quotes. I started off with nano tales. All right. And you keep evolving, you go step by step. If you think that if you are overwhelmed by the count, as Natasha rightly said, that, people fear the word count we are writing. So I think short stories, nano tales, even if it is a 250 word story, doesn't matter. It's a story. So start writing. I started writing with quotes, and then I slowly evolved, and here I am today in front of you. So each writer, any upcoming writer who feels that no, I'm not able to write, and there is, as everyone said here, there is nothing called as perfect. There is no perfect story. Like there is no perfect murder. We all are killing each other here, but there is no perfect murder. There is no perfect story. Every reader will, as rightly said, any reader will read your story for sure. Do not be of the opinion that, what am I writing? I am telling this from my point of view because I was at a stage when I felt that, who will read this? I mean, who will read this? And as Santoshi rightly said, reading is very important. Reading is very, very important. Unless you read, unless you absorb other people's story, their vocabulary, how are they, expressing themselves. Each one is different. Each one is unique. Some say show, some use show don't tell. Some use a poetic way of telling a story. So each one is different. Read, acquire that vocabulary, acquire that. I know that you are unique, but then you can do it your way. But as everybody said, be observant, be read a lot, and yes, take small steps and you will reach there, as I have today. So yes, that's it from my end. And we have a lot of communities in on Facebook and different social media platforms. UBI is one of them. I started off with UBI. So I think you should join these communities to hone your skills. I did a lot of contests. I did a lot of anthologies. So slowly, you take a step forward and you move ahead. And I am honored that Sapna ji also gave me an opportunity to be an editor for her book. So look, the way it's my journey. All I can talk is about myself here as a writer. So I have evolved, and so will you. And it's not difficult. It may take some time, but surely you'll read.
Absolutely. Wonderfully said, Divya. Absolutely true. You must start somewhere. As Santoshji said, you start writing. Read. As Natasha said, you have to work ahead on that. And all the inputs which have come today from Apsana, Natasha, Divya, and Santoshji, I think all of us over here have evolved as a person, as a writer. By all this knowledge within us, I'm sure there is some story being written somewhere in someone's heart out there. So whoever is there listening to us, please pen it down. All the platforms are there. today's world is so open to everyone. It's like so much availability is there for you. There's so many platforms you can just start writing, contributing. UBI, as she said, is the one platform. We have a Facebook community where you can post every day. We don't even have any limitation of number of posts a day. So whenever you write something, share it with us. We would love to listen. We would love to hear. We would love to read. And would love to see you present your stories or poetry, whatever talent you have, and bring in your friends, whoever are shying away, hiding away, give them that opportunity. We are there, we can see the opportunity, but there will be somebody you must have seen somewhere, writing some notes somewhere, talking about it, that हाँ मैं भी लिखती हूँ, that मैं भी लिखती हूँ से I have written this की journey में. Be instrumental, be a catalyst in some one person's life. That's all we ask for. And with this, I think I take leave from the YouTube live session now. Thank you once again, Santosh da.
Especially, don't get too smug. I might kill you.
Don't worry, आ जाओ आप मिलने को आओगे या खाने मुझसे मरने को तैयार हूँ.
So much ahead of
This was so amazing, such a wonderful session, and wonderful session with all of you, Natasha, Afsana, and my dear Divya, a wonderful host as usual. Thank you
Thank
so
you
much
so
for
much.
each one's time, and we will meet in the green room. Till then, today evening we are meeting again on the YouTube live session of World of Poetry, where Kameshwari ji is taking us through with the team of poets coming from across the world, and wonderful session indeed it's going to be. So see you today again in the evening. Till then, bye bye, Shabakar.